Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our February 28th board meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And board members, if I could have an approval of the agenda, please.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Guthrie. Do I have a second? Mr. Farnsworth. Any discussion? All in favor? 7-0. Okay, I would like to ask everyone just to give me your attention for just a few minutes. I want to begin by saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I'm going to read you a little paragraph. Author and speaker Patricia Fripp said, "A team is not just people who work at the same time in the same place. A real team is a group of very different individuals who share a commitment to working together to achieve common goals. Most likely, they are not all equal in experience, talent, or education, but they are equal in one virtually important way: their commitment to the good of the organization. Any group of people, your family, your workplace, or your community, gets the best results by working as a team. If we work together, we can win together. We can make a difference together." If we could stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first thing on our agenda, we have the school highlights and Mr. Matt Kenwright.
Let me first of all introduce him. Before Matt talk, let me tell you who Matt is. He is our new PIO, replacing, of course, the retired Pat Rayner, who's been our PIO for many, many years. And so we interviewed him, and we brought him from Lee Summit School District, just outside of Kansas City, Missouri, where he was working in a school district very much the size of ours, just a little bit smaller, and working there as the assistant PIO. So this is a move for him, and he was interested in coming here, not just for the job, but his family is all relocating here in our area. So the family wants to stay together, and he wants to not be the Lone Ranger still back in Missouri. So he's coming to join them, and we're so pleased to have him. And only his second week, right? Second week. He came last Monday.
Thank you, Mr. Pye. And before I begin, I just want to say thank you. I'm very honored to be here for this opportunity, and I know that I have big shoes to fill. So I'm just honored to be here. All right. Well, this is the best part of my job, is sharing the good news, and there's lots of good news to share tonight. I want to start with our district spelling bee winners. I have Miss Cuthbert, if she's here. Perfect. She is our 6th to 8th grade English language program interventionist, and she's going to share that information.
Thank you very much for having me. I am proud to be able to recognize our district spelling bee winners this evening. Just for some background, we have students in grades 5 through 8 who participate in classroom spelling bees, then school spelling bees, and then those winners advance to our Dorchester 2 district spelling bee. We're really excited because the 6 spellers that we're going to recognize tonight are going to represent our school district in the 30th annual Spellbound Spelling Bee on March 24th. So I'm going to call them up now. I know we do have a few here to come get their certificate. So first off, Jacob Hazelwood. I think I saw him. Lana Davis. Evan Bowles. Don't think I saw Evan. Xavier Ellis. Lydia Donnelly. And Juliet Tebow. Yeah, sure. So like I said, we're just really excited that they're going to all be representing us at the end of March in the Spellbound Spelling Bee, and we certainly wish them all the luck in the world. They worked really hard to get this far.
All right, all right. So for our continued excellence, I would like to introduce our state champions for wrestling. All right. All right, if Principal Brooke Matthews could come up and share this good news for us.
Thank you for having us. Obviously, this is a very, very exciting time for Ashley Ridge and our wrestling team and coaches. So, guys, I'm going to introduce you one by one when you come up, and then we'll take pictures. Charles Bartlett. Cade Branham. Emery Dalton. Jackson Diamond, Weston Eady, Weston is a two-time state champion, so he won last year and this year in individuals. Ethan Freer, Christian Garland, Keith Grace, Tyreek Johnson, Mason Marillet, Joseph Marzer, Justin Matta, Rocky Moretti, and Rocky also won an individual state championship this past weekend. Rylan Parker, Kevin Radline, Brendan Reyes, Ben Singletary. Ben also won an individual state championship this weekend. And he is also our devout holder of the awesome state championship. I don't think since that was presented, I don't think you've let that out of your hands. Nope. Nolan Spencer. Jeremiah Venning. Connor Wilson. And last but certainly not least, TJ Wilson. All right, and at this time, I'm going to call up our coaching staff. Our head coach is Stacy Woods. Assistant coach, Charlie Robinson. Assistant coach, Lee Barkley. Assistant coach, TJ Hall. Assistant coach, Alan Aponte. And assistant coach, Jacob Poston. And Ashley Ridge, Randall Tucker, our athletic director. I just want to say a little bit about these guys. Obviously, very, very proud of them and what they have brought to our school. They have fought hard all season. I mean, through COVID, through, not being able to practice for a week because our school went virtual. They have done everything that they needed to do in order to prepare themselves for this. At the match, the state match, we were down pretty much the entire match. And they never gave up. The coaches never gave up. I mean, I'm sitting there, Coach Tucker and I are looking at each other like, oh God, this is going to be close. I don't know. But it was just like a calm among the students, the athletes, the coaches. And then, we call Ben up and we end up winning by 1 point, 27-26. And that's how it ended. I mean, couldn't be, again, more proud of just their calmness, what they brought to our school in this notoriety. But again, they've shown grace, they've shown tenacity, they've shown class, whether they were winning or losing. And I really commend our coaches, and especially Coach Woods, for instilling them the love for not only wrestling, but for each other. And I think it's fair to say that y'all would do anything for each other and you would do anything for your coaches. So again, I can't say enough. We are so proud of you. The Ashley Ridge family is so proud to be home of and this is so nice to say, 5A South Carolina State Wrestling Champs. So congratulations, guys. We're proud of you. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Ms. Moore, I'd like to say one thing. I'm so grateful for you to recognizing each individual child. I appreciate you calling their names and recognizing them rather than just saying the Ashley Ridge Wrestling Team, because I think they're each one special in some way. Thank you.
All right, so let's keep the good news going. All right, now we have some national board certified teachers, and we have 12 renewals this year, and so I'll share why it's important. It is with pride that we recognize and congratulate our national board certified renewals tonight. The National Board Certification is the teaching profession's highest certification. The process measures what accomplished teachers should know and be able to do. As Mr. Pye proudly stated, quality teachers and quality instruction are what makes our school district one of the best in South Carolina. I applaud these master teachers for their commitment to teaching excellence. The beneficiaries of their hard work are the students in our classrooms. We are very appreciative of the dedication and hard work that our new National Board Certified teachers have demonstrated. We are proud to announce that 12 teachers have earned their National Board renewals. We would like to present our newest, we would like to present them with some certificates to show our appreciation. And I have, if they're here, we have Jill Brown, and she's at Beach Hill Elementary. We have Charlotte Hammond at Joseph R. Pye Elementary. Brenda Ingram at William Reeves Jr. Elementary School. Oh, I am so sorry. Congratulations. Thank you. Brenda, at William Reeves Junior Elementary. She's not here. Michelle Kieber at Dorchester Elementary. Heather Mann at Sand Hill Elementary. Christina Miller at Beach Hill Elementary. Amber Moody at Rollings Middle School of the Arts. Sarah Osborne from Du Bois Middle School. Christina Riley from Gregg Middle School. Lisa Schaefer from Ashley Ridge High School. Heather Watts from William Reeves Junior Elementary. And Adam Weiner from Alston Middle School. If we could get our teachers to come up and take a quick photo, that'd be great. All right, and so for our final one that I'm excited to present, and I was actually here for this surprise, for our District Counselor of the Year, that's Dr. Arthea Simmons, and she is from Span Elementary. Since everybody got something, I would like to give you a little something. And so she could not be with us this evening, but Galia Mercer Brown sent some remarks that I would like to share. The school counselors within DD2 strive to implement the ASCA national mindsets and behavioral standards and the South Carolina school counseling and career guidance model in their daily tasks. Focus is placed on addressing the unique needs of the school and students' knowledge, skills, and abilities within academic, career, and social-emotional mental health development. Dr. Simmons is an exemplary professional school counselor that emphasizes the most important core value of DD2, students first. She uses innovation and approaches learning from a holistic perspective to help each student she encounters. Her support demonstrates how relationships, rigor, and relevance will help our students transition to the next stage. She is truly an asset to the profession. Congratulations, Dr. Simmons.
This time, you'll talk about coming things. You want Ms. Radcliffe to catch us up on some more things happening this week?
If she could, yes. Dr. Ratcliffe.
I want them to realize there's more good stuff on the horizon.
And there's more good stuff coming up.
All right, we might as well keep the good news going. Okay, we recognize the Ashley Ridge State Championship in wrestling. And remember, in winter sports, we've got wrestling, we've got girls basketball, and we've got boys basketball. So far, DD2 has a state championship in wrestling. Well, now, this Thursday, we have 2 more opportunities for state championships, and this is unbelievable. We've got the Somerville High School girls going against the Rock Hill girls on Thursday night for the state championship. They're going to be up at USC Aiken at 5 o'clock, so that's a huge opportunity. So again, that's another state championship opportunity. The third state championship opportunity will be that same night. The Fort Dorchester boys basketball team is going to go against Ridgeview at 7 o'clock at USC Aiken for the boys state championship in 5A. So y'all, it's a good year in DD2, especially for these winter sports, looking at 3 possible state championships. So good luck to the Green Wave and good luck to the Patriots. Thank you.
Yeah, we like to hear all those good things, so keep coming with those things. Next on our agenda are public comments on agenda items, and I have no public comments on agenda items, so we're going to go to the approval of our minutes. Board members, in your package, you should have received the regular meeting of February the 14th and the called meeting of February the 22nd. If everybody's okay with it, we can do those in open session. Okay, I need a motion to approve those. Motion made by Ms. Crosby. Do I have a second? I'll second. Second by Ms. Robinson. Any discussion? All in favor? 7-0. Okay, next on the agenda is our superintendent's report, the state of the district. Mr. Pye.
Yes, thank you. First, I want to catch us up on the COVID-19 update. So, Amanda Santa Maria, if you'd come forth and catch us up, I'd appreciate it.
Good evening, Mr. Pye, Chairwoman Hughes, and members of the board. I'm going to keep the theme of good news coming and share an important update with all of you about our quarantine procedures in our schools. So on Tuesday, February 22nd, DHEC issued updated schools guidance for managing COVID-19 as an endemic. This updated guidance provides us as a school district with an additional option for quarantine of students who have close contact exposures to COVID-19. When and if a school has 2 consecutive weeks with less than 10% of all students and staff having COVID-19 or COVID-19 symptoms, they may opt to suspend quarantine procedures and test-to-stay programs. The first 2-week period for review ends today, and based on our final review of our current COVID-19 levels in our schools, we would like to move forward with this option and suspend quarantine and test-to-stay procedures beginning tomorrow. So what that means... So following these new guidelines, what that means for our schools is that when we have positive cases, those continue to be reported to us. We continue to report those to the health department. But the next step of contact tracing those cases, notifying parents of exposure, requiring those students to mask and test is no longer required as long as our levels remain low. So this is an important update, obviously, for how we handle COVID in our schools. There was an additional update on Friday regarding our buses, and the Department of Ed as well as DHEC have announced that masks are no longer required on school buses. So we have also decided that we will remove masks on buses. As always, parents and students are encouraged to make decisions that they feel comfortable with, so anyone who would like to wear a mask can continue to do so. They will still be available at our schools for anyone who would like to wear one, but they will no longer be required unless you are returning early from isolation, meaning you've had COVID or COVID symptoms and you're returning to school. In alignment with this new criteria, we will continue to report the number of positive cases to DHEC as we've been doing weekly, but we will no longer post our district dashboard since a majority of the information that is posted on that dashboard will no longer be in effect. Anyone wishing to receive information about the number of positive cases can continue to check that information on the DHEC website because that is public information that's made available after we report it to them. We are sending notifications this evening to parents of all students who are under quarantine currently, advising them of this change, that they know that they are no longer required to have their student tested or send them back to school with a mask if they would not like to do so. You have any questions for me?
I just want to say I haven't seen your mouth and nose in 2 years, and it's very attractive. And you're smiling. I know you're so relieved.
We're just excited to be able to bring all of our students and staff back to schools in the safest way possible.
Excited.
Thank you.
Yeah, I asked earlier, I said, who is that? Who's that at the microphone? You can tell, like, the weight is off of your shoulders. So thank you. And I know from all of us, the past 2 years. And I think where I don't want to go is we don't know what the future holds. The good news is I think we have identified a lot of processes and practices and gaps and things. So God forbid something like this happens in the future. It could be even very, very different. Who knows what that looks like? I think our district is well ahead of the game for the future. So thank you to you and your team, Mr. Pye, everybody, this past couple of years. I spoke to some teachers, and when they saw that email, I guess we sent it Friday or whatever.
We sent it as quickly as we could.
Yeah.
But we can't do anything officially for the quarantine part of it until officially March 1. So that's why it's the kickoff tomorrow. We had to wait for the 2-week period, even though we've had 3 or 4 weeks of good weeks. It's where it should be, and it's been dropping down every time, so we're not even close to 10%. We're way below, not even 5%. It's in real good shape, so we feel real comfortable that we are doing the right thing for the right reasons, because I want to iterate. I was going to say this after while she's there. We have really spent the last 2 years totally in transition away from normal and into foreign territory that we have no idea how to explore. No direction from anyone except politicians and DEC and others with, I don't know what their rating is and ranking is as far as credibility in the community and the nation, but at the same time, the research that follows them is sketchy, and as you know, we've heard so many different sides of the story. It's divided our community very severely, and it's really tasked the school district. How can we educate our children in a safe environment? And I'm sorry, that is not an easy task to do. It used to be much easier when we tried to keep intruders out and people from breaking our buildings, doing some terrible things. This is something we can't see and don't know a whole lot about it. And like I said, the information's sketchy. Then as soon as we get a system in, and we've done some fabulous systems. Our nurses have been patient, and our administrators, and we've put in some great things. As soon as we put it in and we see great turnaround, and we're like, we're on top of this, way ahead of any district in the state, then they changed it on us, and we get no notice. You hear about it, same time I hear about it, and it's always on Friday night. Friday after, it's just got to be Friday. It's too late. Everybody's home. It's over with. School's over for the week. And we got to wait till Monday, and everybody's watching the news, and it's like, why haven't we heard from the school district? Well, the school district is not in a position to say anything. We've not met. We've not talked about it. And it's an option we have. It's not a requirement that we necessarily do that right now unless we meet all the criteria. We have to meet to make sure the criteria is met, even though I feel I've been watching these numbers so closely. I'm a numbers person. We had far met it, so I knew there was not an issue, but it needs to be official, and it needs to be research-based, as everything we have done since July 2 years ago. This district has followed that course, and we've been up and down and around. We have not wavered, even though some people feel we have. Why do you keep changing? We changed because of what the climate is that's given to us. We didn't change on anything we've done because we had nothing else to do. We were very much involved. To go virtual and all was our only option, and we had to close some schools because that was the criteria, and our schools needed some relief from the problems we were having. However, our goal is always, and will continue to be, we need the children in the classroom, not just in the class. I want direct instruction. And our teachers have been asked to do all these dual, triple, quadruple modalities. They're doing everything under the sun. And this has become fragmented with kids coming and going in a revolving door. It makes it very difficult as we try to balance this. I think our people need to be applauded throughout this district for giving it a valiant try. They've done a fabulous job. No, we're not out of the woods, but as Mr. Farnsworth, I'm so glad you put it that way. I probably would not have said it. We have put in place some wonderful systems. And we know how to track, we know how to trace, we know how to do all of it. We're about as good as it gets, and we know how to be efficient about it. And I challenge anyone, anywhere, to tell me any district in this state has done a better job than we have. Yes, some of them were first. They may not have worn masks. They might have worn masks. They did this, did that. We're not copycats. We make our own decision. We're a district that stands on its own. We listen to what our peers and colleagues are doing. We look at what's happening out there, but we don't try to make emotional or political decisions. And that's cost me personally probably more than I care to talk about or think about. However, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm here for children who don't get a vote. I'm really here for parents who don't get a vote. They want a vote, but they're divided on what their vote should be. And if we sit and wait till everybody agrees, it's never going to happen. So we had to agree to disagree while we continue to stay the course. So no matter what happens, whether you like our decision or not, we did what we were given. We stayed in our lane and did what we could. Now we saw the light at the end of the tunnel. This car is out of the lane, and we're moving on forward. And I think we're probably one of the most progressive districts in the state at this point in time. And so we've done, I don't know how else to orchestrate this, and I wouldn't do it if I didn't have the backing, the support of the team that I have, and their support and acknowledgement that it's time. It is time. It has not gone away. We've got to keep our eyes on it, but learning has to happen at the highest degree possible, and that's our children in the classrooms with their teacher. With that encouragement is the very best that we have to offer, and that's our commitment. So that's what we're going to be doing because it's nothing more valuable than direct classroom instruction. So that as we begin to implement everything we did is close to normal. Every time I use that word, I get in trouble. As we move more back to some type of structure that we're used to, that's familiar to students and teachers and our public, it probably will never be the same, but we're moving much closer, and that's our commitment, and we're there. We're right at the threshold, and we'll be making decisions. I'm meeting with the principals all day tomorrow, and we will finalize other things that we need to do as far as how we're going to handle things. I want you to know, we've already been approving various things, events, especially if it's optional. If it's something like that you can do on your own time on a Friday night or Saturday night, I have no issues, and I haven't had issues because a parent doesn't have to send their child, a child doesn't have to go. But when we're getting into things that happen during the school day on my time and my teachers and staff time, we have to have the proper protocol of fairness. We have to protect our staff and our students best we can. So we're trying to do that, and again, I can't say enough for our principals and thus our teachers and all of our staff members for pulling together to make this happen the most trying of times. So thank y'all so very much. I appreciate everybody out there who's helped us. Thank you. That's it.
Anybody have any comments or questions for Mr. Pye? Well, I know we are all ecstatic about this. All the board members are. I mean, we were happy to get that email the other day. So we want to thank Mr. Pye, you and your staff, and because we know that everybody had a hand in this, and all of this wouldn't have evolved, and we would not have been above everybody else or ahead of everybody else with all of this, our program where we were tracking and that kind of thing, and we wouldn't have learned as much as what we did, so that we're prepared for future. If something comes up in the future, that we know how to address it and we know how to get on it. So we want to thank y'all as well for doing everything that you did and taking the time. And it is very nice to see Miss Santa Maria smile again. So thank y'all very much. Okay, we're going to move on then to our personnel report. Board members, in your packets, you should have received the resignations for the 2021 or 21-22, I'm sorry, school year. I need a motion to approve those, if I could. Motion made by Mr. Farnsworth. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Crosby. Any discussion? All in favor? 7-0. Okay, next is our financial report. Tina Meunier.
Good evening, Chairwoman Hughes, Mr. Pye, school board members. I'll just continue with the good news. We are still in budget on December 31st, 2021, so is that good? Yay. In your packets, you received our financials as of December 31st, 2021. We'll look at our general fund first. Just as a point of reference, we always compared this current year versus last year. Always keeping in mind, though, there are different situations in different years. So with that being said, our total assets as of December 31, 2021, were at $40,220,570. And that looks a little different if you compare it to our December of 2020 number. You'll see in our liability section, the reason why is because we had taken out a TAN, so we had that extra money in our asset section, but we also had the extra liabilities in our liability section, which you will not see in December 2021, so I just wanted to point that out, that's why that looks a little different. There's a couple $1 million difference. But again, we are still in balance at December 2021, so that's good. The next page, you'll see your revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance for the general fund. Our top section is our local sources, and the first number right out of the gate is the $61 million budget for our taxes, and at the end of December, we had received 9.9. However, at the end of February, we had 49 million, so we are really almost there for our local funding, which was projected by our county officials, which is higher than what we were hoping for, so it's looking really good. When you get to our total revenues, as of the end of December, we had 84 million, which is 63% of what our projected revenues are, of 225,932,045. That's our total budget for this current year. If you go down to our expenditures, you'll see most of these are in line with our ideal percentage of 50%. There's just one item that I wanted to point out, our business services, which includes our technology department, and we have a lot of software renewals, and we pay our partnership with Canty, we pay them on a quarterly basis, so that's why it looks a little bit higher because of the timing difference in those. But as you'll see at the bottom, we are still within the 59% this year as compared to last year. We just had a higher budget, so the total dollars look a little different, but the percentage is still the same. Now, moving on to our next page is our food service fund for our balance sheet. This year, as compared to last year, it looks a little funny on this side. Our due to the general fund is really a due from general fund of that 2.6 million, which means that we had savings from last year. You can see in the fund balance section, and we're showing some savings this year in our fund balance. So we're doing well working with Sodexo. We love the partnership with them. We are working on some different projects. We were able to receive some funding from the state for a supply chain assistance fund due to the increase of cost of food during this time when the shipping costs have gone up and food prices have gone up. So we're brainstorming some ideas with Sodexo to be able to work on that. Also, with some of our savings, we're talking about making some capital improvements out of the food service fund. So for any ovens or maybe dishwashers that need to be replaced, we'll be able to use some of that funding for those projects. Then the last page of our financials shows our revenues and expenditures for food service fund, and we have more revenues as of the end of December of 21 versus 20. There was not a lot of participation at the very beginning of last year. We were out for a week, and we just didn't have a whole lot of participation at the beginning of last year. Working with Sodexo this year, and they've already increased participation, so we're doing really well this year. The next section, what we have in your board packets is our school activity fund balances. And I missed the conversation last month about that. I'm sorry about that. But the one thing that I wanted to point out is that the receipts that come in for those school activity funds are for various clubs, and most of the time the expenditures happen throughout the year, and they don't come in at the same time as the revenues do. So maybe like a senior activity fund for some of the high schools, they collect their money at the beginning of the year, but they don't spend it until later in the year when they're doing activities. Same with the yearbook. They collect the money whenever they're doing registration, but they don't pay for that until the spring. And there are over 100 funds at the different high schools, at all three of our high schools. They have 100 funds apiece that they're keeping track of all these clubs. So it's not just sitting like in one club where they're not spending their money. So I just wanted to go over that with y'all since.
schools have done a better job of spending some of their monies in the operating fund, and I know the trust fund is endless of things, especially this late in the year, yearbooks, graduation expenses and other expenses that we have to pull money aside is all that money that's going in the trust. So those trusts, I noticed one of the middle schools has a large trust fund too. They too have all these different events in the spring that money's been pulled aside for. So I feel comfortable that's being spent properly. The only concern I have is of the 3 high schools, 2 high schools are having the operating fund no more than 1 school. 1 school has double the other 2 schools, and they're not the largest schools. So I got a little bit of problem with that amount of money there, and because they have the highest trust balance too, counts. So there's a lot of money there, and these schools should be similar in lots of ways because they're doing the same things.
Right. I think they probably have not, and you can see they're not showing encumbrances for some of those activities. They haven't shown an encumbrance for the prom, which they've already put money.
That 1 school, the other 2 have?
It looks like they have not done the purchase orders.
None
for
of the
that yet.
3.
No, just that one that you're
Just the
you're
one,
talking
okay.
about.
But we're watching those things and
Yes, sir.
advising
Yes.
them because I'm definitely opposed, as all my staff knows. Don't come up here in June telling people we got to spend $20,000, $50,000. That's not the way we operate. I want our current teachers and our current children to enjoy any windfall that we have, such as we did. We set a wonderful example of dropping our fund balance when we were over the proviso we hope will come and pass that will allow us to do it, but in the meantime, we didn't have a choice. Instead, we gave it back to our beleaguered workers. Talking is one thing, but we have to show we are sincere. So I just want to make sure it's going there in the right area. And I know with the principals meeting tomorrow, one of the topics we're going to talk about is ways to build morale, things we're going to do. How can we improve student and teacher attendance? How can we improve the apathy of some of our students that's out there, the discipline of some of our students? There's just a lot of hot topics, and I'm thinking between 26 schools, somebody has a command on one of those areas. One of those areas is covered somewhere. So we're going to share ideas tomorrow, break them into groups, brainstorm. We as a district is going to present some things to them, and we only have 3 months to go. And I know I'm going to set the example where I have control to do. I'm going to follow that, where the policy gives me permission to make a decision that I think is in the best interest of the district, and I will be exercising that. So the principals get prepared for tomorrow. You may not like it. Some of my staff don't like some of the ideas I have, but I'm sorry. My teachers and staff are too important. Right now, their welfare is tops with me.
Sounds good. They have some funds that they're able to do that with, so sounds great. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions or comments? Okay, I think I need a motion for that.
Make a motion, we accept the report for information.
Yep, second.
I have a motion for Ms. Crosby to accept the financial report as information, seconded by Mr. Guthrie. Any discussion? All in favor? 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. And next up is Mr. Tony Souls with the Facilities and Construction update.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. Pye. One thing that you will not see on here next month is the Somerville High School fire alarm system. We got the CO from the Office of School Facilities in Columbia. They're doing a little demolition work over there. They're going to do some training on the 11th of March, and that's a done deal. The
years.
2 years, 3 months.
That is just disgraceful. And then
Well,
if you
Mr.
go
Pye,
in there, you see the beautiful yellow and the gold and green walls that's been there for 100 years, freshly painted, and we now have the brand new red piping all over the school. Other schools, it's tan. Other schools, it's different colors. and they would not change it. They wouldn't hear of it. They said it was a safety issue. Real problems with that. The school's most upset over that, and I've had to work with them about how we can work with them and making it maybe ease the pain a little bit. But it's just been a problem with that whole fire setup, the way it was done, how it was subbed out, how they didn't follow through. They had stop, go, stop, go. I just want the public, in case somebody hears about it, it's nothing else we could have done on our end. We were just at the mercy of the people doing it.
A lot of that was COVID driven.
Yes.
There were material issues, supply issues. It's just been the wrong 2 years to do that project. We picked the 2 years to do it. But at the end of the day, we've got the coveted piece of paper from OSF. We can paint the conduit now and go on our merry way. So
I'm doing.
That's one of our.
So, but what company's doing it?
That was Premier Fire Alarm
I
Systems.
don't know.
Premier.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. They're a large fire alarm company. They do fire alarm, fire sprinkler.
Yeah,
They do a lot of things. They just they had to sub out the electrical part of it, which was all the conduit runs, and in 225,000 square feet of high school, there were miles of conduit that had to be run, and in that conduit there were several miles of cabling had to be done. So it was a large project. Even if we had taken it on at the opportune time, it would have been all-night work, so we could still have school during the day. So it was a challenge, and
we had to hire guards to walk up and down the halls during the day and after school to make sure the building was safe until this was finished. So with it was a lot of criteria that cost the district money, time, during a time when our staff was most depleted as it can be. Then we had to work on things like that. So it's just been troubling, but I'm so glad to hear that after March 11th, it's over with.
it is a done deal. Out of Ashley Ridge, we have some fire alarm equipment going in the greenhouse, and they're going to start that work tomorrow, and hopefully by the end of the month, we'll be closing that one out too. Out at the middle school, you have what I call the current and look ahead, and I also included a 6-week look ahead schedule. So this kind of puts some dates and activities together for you to look at. On this schedule is week 2. The new one came out today. I didn't have a chance to grab that, but on the new one, this is week 1. So on week 2 of this schedule, you can see that they're putting stone down, getting ready to pave phase 2, which is the Peace Lane side of the car rider loop.
That's the dates across the top.
Yes, sir. That's the date across the top. That's Monday through Friday through Saturday.
Goes on.
And there are the activities, and where the activities are, you'll see locations where that work is going on. For instance, on the road grading on phase 2, you'll see the stone going down Monday through Thursday, and you'll actually see paving on Friday. So they intend on paving Friday.
So when it gets paved, that'll make it easier for us to take furniture and things in there.
Yes, sir.
But I also want to set up a tour for the press and the school board to at least visit now, and then as we get closer to finishing touches, they can see. I want them to be impressed about how much we've done in a short time and how good it looks. They will not see what they've seen at other sites. I mean, this brick is laid right. This does all kind of good stuff.
It's very impressive to see. So to get to that point where we can visit, the roof, they worked on the roof Saturday. I think I put in my report it was 95%. It's probably closer to 99% now. They had one part of the roof over the gym they wanted to get done over the weekend. They got that done. So they're putting in windows, and when they get the windows put in, the building will be dried in, and we hope to get that dried in building by middle of March. That's what we're shooting for. They're already starting to do block fill to get ready to paint the final finish in the cafeteria and kitchen. So that's where it all started, in the cafeteria and kitchen. When they get through painting there, hopefully they can roll it around to the main hallway, the gym, and then start on the wings. And it's just a natural progression as we roll through. They're wrapping up the brickwork. So the masons are going to be, as they are laying the brick on the gym this week, they'll have another crew on the wings starting to clean the brick. So by the time they get to the gym to clean the brick, they'll just pack their brushes and water hoses up and be gone. So that's how it's really an impressive sight to see those guys work out there. They're averaging about 100 to 110 workers a day on that job site. And
A day.
so it's controlled chaos at its best, and actually Thompson Turner has a safety award that they give to each job that has the best safety record, and they've had that safety award out on that job site for 2 months out of the past 6 months. So it's very, very well organized, managed job, and hopefully within the next month or so we can all go out there and take a walk around. So I provided that schedule for you to look at. I provided you our weekly update with a few still pictures on that. That shows us up, and then that was last week. So if you're looking at it, you'll see the roofing is pretty much covered the whole building. The only part on that picture on the lower right over there is the gym they hadn't done, but that's completed now. And I think we have a little video we're going to try to show that compliments of Mr. Vincent Joy from Rawlings Middle School. We tried to get some aerial shots last week, and the gentleman that does that for us from Somerville High School, he couldn't make it out last week. So we contacted Mr. Joy, and he ran out there with his own drone, and he wanted to do a little video for us. So if we can pull that up, we'll take a look. That's the front entrance of the school you're seeing. That's a little bit of roof they had to do on Saturday. Thank you, Mr. Joy. I didn't know Vince was so talented. He put music to that. That was great. That's pretty much all I have. If you have any questions for me.
Any questions for Mr. Soul? I don't think so.
Good
You
job.
covered it all. Thank you very much.
Mr. Souls, I have to say, is on top of everything. And I'm telling you, ask him about something. He has either done it or he has a plan for it. It's none of this, well, I can't get to it. I mean, it's just so refreshing to have someone on top of things. He's got a wonderful department. This was a department in past years we had some issues with, several people, but he has turned that department completely around. It's not anything like, it's so professional. People want to be there. They want to do a good job, and they respect him and his leadership, and he's able to motivate them and how he treats them. So it's really about building relationships, and I'm just so impressed. So thank you so much.
Okay, next on our agenda is unfinished business, and we're going to just talk about the attendees to the SCSBA annual convention. If you'd like to talk about maybe something that you learned or something about the convention, that would be greatly appreciated, just to kind of inform everybody of all the good things that they had. And so who wants to start? Everybody just jump right in. Ms. Wimberly.
It was a great opportunity to network and talk with other boards across the entire state. And I think just being together with a group of people who are so passionate and enthusiastic about public education, it's very invigorating. And I particularly enjoyed the legislative updates and discussion about changes that are lots of changes that are happening across South Carolina and things that we need to be aware of. I'm sure we all appreciated that. But yeah, it was a great opportunity. I think I look forward to any opportunity to learn more and spend time collaborating with other people who are like-minded.
Thank you, Ms. Wimberly. Ms. Robinson?
I agree with everything Ms. Wimberly said, and I'm going to give a tiny legislative update to go along with that workshop. But the keynote addresses, at least 2 of them out of the 3, were so uplifting and inspiring that you can never say we can't. And these were real people who had adversaries throughout much of their young lives, and to be able to overcome brain tumors or being born without proper limbs and being able to climb Mount Kilimanjaro and just things like that. And they were there in person to talk to you and tell you how to go about never saying I can't. And I think it was good for schools and for us working with children to always say there's a way. So I really appreciated that, along with the inner workings with other board members throughout the state. Made me think we really were real good. District 2 is really good.
Mr. Farnsworth?
Yeah, if I can just piggyback on what both Ms. Wimberly and Ms. Robinson said. So the one, get out your pens, papers, get out your phone, like everybody stop looking at your phone, write this name down. Everybody ready? I want to see it, like I literally want to see you write this name down. Kyle Maynard. Kyle, K-Y-L-E, M-A-Y, N-A-R-D. That guy, holy cow, so he gave a keynote. This dude was born with congenital amputation of all of his limbs. So he had no hands and he had no legs below his knees. And the dude climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. So for our administrators, for our teachers, anybody in our district, if you ever say or come up with an excuse, just pull up Kyle Maynard's YouTube video and it will completely change your perspective. Because holy cow, and just really, really impressive. I went away from that, I was like, oh, I can never say I can't again. No arms and no legs, and climb 22,000 feet. It's crazy. I mean, it really isn't. The guy did it. So anyway, I get really excited about that kind of stuff, and just really unbelievably excited. So Kyle Maynard, look him up on YouTube. He's got some awesome videos, super, super motivational, and you will never say I can't again after you hear his story.
Yeah, I think this was a very good convention. We had 2 really, really good motivational speakers, and the third one had a good message. So, I mean, it was good as well, but there were lots of good breakouts and lots of information that we were able to bring back, but the collaboration is always the great part because, you know, you are able to say, we've approached this or we're approaching this. Have you ever had to deal with this? You know, and you're able to get live messages from people. And I think that was probably the best part, I think, about this whole convention was the fact that we were so close to being back to normal with having our guest speakers come in and we're actually able to see them. We don't have to watch them on videos. And the only thing we didn't have, which is something that I really enjoy, is our student performers. Because we start our morning every morning with our students, because that reminds us that students are our priority, and that's what all this is about. So we start every morning with student performances, and we are still not able to do that, but hopefully in the coming conventions we will be able to to bring the student performers back in so that we can enjoy those rather than just watch them on a video. So it was very good. Ms. Crosby?
I'll back up what Mr. Farnsworth was saying. When I was in the classroom, I never allowed my kids to say can't, say I'll try. And this young man certainly went beyond what you could imagine, trying to climb a mountain with no arms and legs. But he was very motivational, and it was, it was a joy to hear some positive and hear some good things going on. We had a lot of breakout sessions that were good. One of them's on legislative, but I'll just let you do the legislative part. But one of the things that I heard was that teachers are going to get a $2,000 raise. So I thought that was the big thing that's on the state budget. So that ought to make everybody happy. But overall, it was a good conference. And we also got to mingle and meet not only with other school boards, but with other professionals that were there and discuss things that they could offer our district, and just to listen and hear about the different aspects of the different projects they might have going on. So I think it's beneficial for us to go to these things. It's a learning experience for all of us, and it's things that we don't hear every day. It's things that we do need to go and hear others share and to be able to, to understand what's going on. That was what was so good about nationals. You could hear what was going on across the nation. But it was a good conference, and I enjoyed going. Thank you.
It was also, I have to mention this part because it's just amazed me, the same speaker that Mr. Farnsworth and Ms. Crosby were speaking of, he was also a wrestler. I mean, we just had a state championship wrestling team. He was also a wrestler, and he was a football player. So, just great things. So, but anyway, okay, moving on the agenda. Committee reports is next, and we're going to start with our board legislative committee. Ms. Robinson.
Thank you. As you could tell, we all went to the legislative workshop because that's where you find out a lot of times about money. And, you get on a high and then you realize all the red tape, and pretty soon you're back down at a low. But just because a bill is passed, it still has to be ratified. And there's a lot of bills on the floor right now. I think today there's 20 bills in the Senate as we speak, just when session started this afternoon. So they might be passed, and we get excited, but then it goes to the House, the Senate, and it gets all, they fix it real pretty depending on where you are, who you are, and then it's presented and ratified. Well, initially, we found out the governor has a bill and was going to give an allotment to each district and let them be held accountable for that money without having all these earmarks that they were required to have. But then it went to the Senate and to the legislation, and it's all been changed and moved around, and what looked so promising, and I think right now the raise is even higher than 2,000. That's how things change. But I know that there's our CFO who gets things even quicker than we do oftentimes, and I asked her if she would come to explain the very most recent what's going on with this bill. Thank you, Ms. Monet.
You're welcome. So I heard some from Mr. Farnsworth while y'all were down there at your meeting, and we were scared and worried, and the governor's proposed budget did include $100 million extra to go towards education, and most every district got an increase except for us and 6 others. So that was not nice to look at, but it was just the governor's proposed budget. So last week, the House Ways and Means, I'm glad you brought that up, because just because that's what he proposed doesn't mean that that's what's going to make it all the way through. So thankfully, the House Ways and Means Committee met last week, and they presented their appropriations budget, which would, as you said, propose $4,000 increase to the statewide minimum teacher salary scale. So $4,000. We're already above that, but there would still be a bump for us. The calculation of the $2 million that we were going to be decreased that amount will probably be decreased based on the House Ways and Means budget that came out just last week. So after we got the the governor's proposal. So thank goodness. So as you said, Ms. Robinson, it's going to continue to move through. There's still, let's see, we're still in the early process. Now the House Ways and Means goes to the conference committee, which is made up of the House folks and the Senate folks. And then it's with their committee, and then it still has to move back through both sides. And then we won't really get official numbers until May, when we reach the sign die deadline. So we won't be getting, we'll be getting some other numbers from the State Department next week. I'm going to the School Business Officials Conference, and the State Department of Education is always there, and they'll give us some numbers which look good at that time. So we'll work those into our budget that we're working here for our Dorchester too. I just wanted to remind you all that because this is such a long process and we're in our beginning stages, the county usually asks us to have a board-approved budget on April 15th. Well, we won't even have good numbers until then. We don't do our board-approved budget until May because we're still waiting for the state. We receive 75% of our revenues from the state, so it might be a little late getting to them, but we will get it to them. What were some of the other items, Ms. Robinson, that we were talking about? The governor's funding plan, as you said, it was going to combine some line items together so that we could run everything through the general fund, and it's for the general fund operations. Right now they're in different funds. We transfer money to the general fund to cover the general fund monies, and it's going to make that a little bit easier. The teacher supply checks, we're going to go up to $300 is what came out of the House Ways and Means. There was going to be an increase, not that there's going to be, I shouldn't say that. They proposed an increase to the minimum bus driver salary schedule by 5%, so that will be helpful as well for bus drivers. Yes, sir? What did I miss, Ms. Robinson?
I think
we were
you
talking
covered,
earlier.
when we were talking, that's pretty much everything.
Okay.
And that's the most up-to-date as of today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson and Ms. Meunier. Next on our agenda is going to be Ms. Ashley Wimberly with the Dorchester II Education Foundation update.
Thank you. So I have two things to talk about tonight, both very positive things in continuing with the meeting. The first one is that Mr. Ralph Hayes, our executive director of our foundation, has been appointed to the National Association of Education Foundations. Yes, I know, it's very exciting. And just to let you all know, this is a very competitive process. It is a huge honor for him and our district. And it's also a great opportunity for Mr. Hayes to network with other foundations, to share ideas, collaborate, and to continue to raise awareness about our own foundation and the great things that we are doing here in DD2. I did a little research about what it entailed, and according to the National Association of Education Foundations, each individual who is selected is highly talented with a proven track record of impactful investment in the students of their respective education systems. Their experience and leadership will be instrumental to the NAEF membership, which consists of 640 education foundations, 1,360 professional foundation leaders, fundraisers, board members, and leaders of educational systems in 41 states who serve over 20 million students. So please join me again in congratulating Mr. Ralph Hayes. And I am not surprised at all. Then the second thing I want to mention is, and I think, Lee, did you have something, if you want to, thank you. I want to talk about the next big thing on deck for the foundation, and that is the big event. The big event is our signature fundraiser for the Education Foundation. And this year, we will be celebrating everything Low Country, from barbecue to beach music, as we raise funds to support our amazing teachers and students in this district. It will be at the Ponds Farmhouse on Saturday, March 26th. And we are anticipating a bigger crowd than ever this year, probably around 400 or so guests. And I think what's important is that it's a great time. It's a lot of fun for all the attendees. But even more than that, the actual event itself has far reach within the community, just in spreading awareness and having people talk about the big event. So with that being said, we are still looking for sponsors to stand with us and support our teachers and our students. If we have individuals or community members or businesses who have any interest in that, you can certainly reach out to me, to Mr. Hayes. Our website has more information about that, but we would be glad to fill you in. And then also keep in mind that the foundation is a 501c3, has nonprofit status, so all sponsorships, in-kind donations, all of that is tax deductible. And then also, we are still selling tickets, and I have a feeling that this event is going to sell out, so I encourage you, if you are interested in attending, and it will be a great time, please go ahead and get your tickets online. I'm hoping that some of you will join us. I will certainly be there. My husband, who never asks off for anything, I had to remind him to ask off for my son's confirmation, is coming. So he's already got the date on his calendar, and we will both be there. I know it'll be a lot of fun, and it is a great time to raise money for our amazing district. And again, just what we were all talking about, that collaboration piece and being around other people who value the same things. It's a huge lift in spirits. And I think this event will be another time for that, where, a lot of people who are passionate about public education, our schools, our teachers, and most importantly, our children. So I encourage you to all join me. And if you have questions, feel free to email me. Mr. Hayes, I know he's in the audience. Do you have anything that you want to add? You're welcome to. Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
Miss Ashley, what's the limit? How many tickets are being sold?
I think, are we limiting it to 400? 400.
Any other questions or comments? No? Thank you, Ms. Wimberly. Okay, next on the agenda is our teacher forum update. Ms. Samantha Hoffman.
Madam Chair, members of the board, and Mr. Pai, good evening. I'm happy to provide you with a brief update on behalf of the Teacher Forum this evening. February was a transitional month for the Teacher Forum. This month, Teacher Forum leadership worked to get the newly named toys added to our professional organization. Due to this, we decided to hold off from formally meeting this month. We plan to officially welcome and celebrate the new members during the March meeting. Current forum members were asked via email to begin thinking about ideas for a future passion project for our spring focus. Traditionally, the forum awards scholarships to high school seniors who will be pursuing a career in education. The forum plans to continue this tradition this spring. However, I hope to report back to you next month with an additional project that our teacher leaders can collaborate on to give back to our district. Last meeting, I spoke about the legislative roundtable event that we hope to host alongside the SCEA and the PSTA. Unfortunately, many of the local legislators had a prior commitment on the evening that we planned to host the event, so the event was temporarily postponed. We hope to be able to hold this important community event in the near future, as we believe giving all stakeholders a chance to meet and hear from local and state legislators regarding education is of the utmost importance. Finally, I'll add that tomorrow I get to travel to Columbia, South Carolina to represent our school district at the statewide Teacher Forum Town Hall event. I'm excited for this professional development opportunity and to have the chance to share all of the great things that we are doing in DD2. Thank you for your continued dedication to our school district and all that you do to help Dorchester 2 lead the way in our state. Are there any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. And I just wanted to briefly, this past weekend, I had the opportunity to sit on a interview board for students that are looking to go into the teaching profession through the Sarah board. And we had over 500 students that are going into the profession. So that was great news, and it's actually up about 150 students from last year. So that was great. So, okay, next on the agenda is public comments. And I have one public comment, and that is Mr. Jason Brockhart.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, and Mr. Pye. There's been a lot of good stuff today, so I don't really want to trample on that, but I do want to, I've been up here for the past year speaking about some things. I've been speaking with some parents that haven't had a chance to get up here. We've come to a very good place. I think that we're almost there. I really want to stay there. But I want us to recall where we were at the beginning of the school year, because this happened to us twice. I don't want it to happen again. So in the words of another former teacher and current concerned parent, I'd like to talk about 3 points: desires, behaviors, and consequences. First, the desire to be in school. My youngest is in high school and suffers from depression. He does the best learning in person and needs to be in school for the social aspect more than anything else. He's upset that his classmates won't wear masks because, in his words, remote situations are totally avoidable if everyone would wear a mask. Actions have consequences. You can't have your cake and eat it too. If you don't want to be virtual, then wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, then don't blame us when we go virtual. Seems like we've been there a couple of times. And they continue. Next, I'd like to talk about the desire to have personal freedoms and the right to raise our kids as we see fit. Schooling is mandatory per the government, but we're not going to protest that. So let's relate that to car seats. My kids hated our car seats, yet we smiled through it and told them that it was for their own good. We found ways to distract them, keep them safe, minimize their discomfort. This could be the worst thing that we've gone through, or we could just go through it with the best things that we have available. That's what adults do. That's what Americans do. Or we can keep feeding in negativity like we have been, and those actions have consequences. Then speaking about behaviors, as adults, we need to be models for our kids. Screaming and yelling is not okay. Fortunately, that's been a lot better lately. That's not where we were, again, back at the beginning of the year. Throwing things is not okay. Being rude and saying hateful things is not okay, and our children are watching. The world is watching. These behaviors are reflected in our children's attitudes and actions, so don't be surprised getting a call from the school saying that your child was disrespectful toward an adult or other kids, and don't be surprised if your child has a bad attitude if that's what we're conveying to them. Actions have consequences. Are we considering the facts that our behaviors have long-term? Students mirroring their parents' behaviors, they'll see that they're going to start treating teachers as the enemy. Teachers spend more time managing classes, and that means that children are going to learn less. As of September 8th, so this is the beginning of the school year, according to Post and Courier, South Carolina has 500 positions open. So what happens there? The classes are unattendable for all. Again, actions have consequences. Consider the attitudes towards how teachers will be looked at through enrollment. I actually like that we just heard that, that interest is up, so that's very good. All of this, pre-COVID, education interest was going down, As of yesterday, Indeed.com listed 1,796 open teacher positions in South Carolina, which is significantly more than at the beginning of the year. So this is very good. I want to keep hearing some more of this. I really do want to see better plans for the future. I really hope that we don't get into those situations again.
Thank you, Mr. Brockert, and I am certainly glad that a lot of the points that you made were in the past and hopefully not in the future. So thank you very much for that. Okay, I think that's all for our meeting. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Mr. Guthrie. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Farnsworth. Any discussion? All in favor? 7-0. Thank you all for attending and have a great evening.